Everyone's favorite, Alanah having a child is a disability by Microsoft standards. Trust me, bros, I was a writer on God of War. For real, on God, I would never lie to you, Pearce. That's right, this absolute unit of a garden utensil is now gonna tell us how we're wrong and we're bad people for disliking Assassin's Creed Shadows. And when you think the internet was a mistake, a shred of light appears.
This is a rant that I have inside of me that's ready to come out at honestly any given time. I'm really salty about it.
And yes, the audio in this video from her side is pretty bad, but she is a woman, so, you know, it is what it is.
There's this feeling I have about Assassin's Creed that is the closest that I ever feel to, like, a furious hate blogging Redditor. So Assassin's Creed Shadows just came out to what appear to be immediately very healthy sales. Shadows is the franchise's second highest selling title ever at launch.
Very healthy sales. No one has given us the sales numbers. When do companies not give sales numbers? When the sales numbers are bad. Makes sense. Checks
just
out.
After Valhalla, which launched during COVID, so it's basically in a league of its own. The game has crossed 3 million activations and player engagement is at record levels, according to Ubisoft. Which, okay, as an aside, the way that we speak about game releases has gotten so weird now that everybody has a subscription service. Activations? Player engagement? Whatever, basically, it's doing well. Feedback is pretty positive as well, as long as you cancel out the review bombing. And it's Ubisoft's best day one launch.
Because review bombing only happens in one direction, as we all know. The opposite. I mean, IGN calling this a 10 out of 10 return to grace and form and whatnot. That's not sus at all. Or all the reviews having the exact same wording why this game is the greatest thing ever. That's not review bombing. It only happens in one direction for the things I dislike.
Of any game on the PlayStation Store. Ubisoft also just announced that in partnership with Tencent, they are making a new subsidiary for their biggest franchises, which is definitely just a stock market play. The new subsidiary includes Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six, and it basically just means that
yeah, the plan that should not be happening if Assassin's Creed Shadows was doing good, that's now 100% happening. Interesting.
They are banking on these franchises continuing to be successful where some of their other properties have struggled. Based on this strategy shift, I would actually not be surprised if we see, for the first time in Assassin's Creed, since the Ezio trilogy, a like Valhalla 2, or a Shadows 2, or maybe even a Return to Italy. And yeah, where Shadows specifically is concerned, I'm not at all surprised by it being successful. People have been asking for a Japanese Assassin's
Creed. I asked these people, why do you say it's successful? Blocked. Ignored, no answer, calls you a bigot. 10 out of 10 reasoning right there. 10 out of 10. Well, we have plenty of reasons to call Assassin's Creed Shadows unsuccessful. These people who claim it is successful can't provide a single reason why it is successful. 10 out of 10.
Creed game for forever. And I imagine even the casual fans, of which there are plenty, Assassin's Creed is a very casual, friendly franchise, even they're going to be interested just because of the setting. Assassins in feudal Japan is just such a no-brainer of a partnership. For people like me,
I don't know about that. I think the average person is pretty not on board with the idea that you're gonna be a black dude killing Japanese citizens in feudal Japan. That does not sound like the Nippon Banzai dream, if you ask me. But maybe I'm just alone here. Who knows?
And probably you, if you're watching this video, which I presume you are. How else would you be here? I think the hype of this very long-awaited thing has kind of been muddied.
I'm here because I respect your opinions and spot this a lot.
Or dulled, at the very least, by the success of Ghost of Tsushima, which obviously has a lot in common with Assassin's Creed, or even less Assassin's Creed-like games, but in a similar setting or with some similarities like Neo or Sekiro.
Oh, did you hear that argumentation and logic? Look at Ghost of Tsushima. It was Japan, and it was successful. That means Assassin's Creed Shadows must be successful. This is why at 24 fucking years... Oh, actually, it was more like 25. 25 years old, I got told while working in government, you should probably quit your job because at this point, there's nothing for you to learn. You just You just have to be a division chief or something. That's it. Okay, because your opinions get put up against like this garbage, this absolute atrocity against humanity, this vapidness.
It is time to talk about Scentbird, which is the reason that
I have no idea what this is, but I'm just gonna make an educated guess. This is probably like those vajayjay scented candles or something like that. I mean, that seems exactly like something Alanah would sell.
Hot take. I know, everybody. This is a real spicy one. First person to ever say it. I'm tired of the Ubisoft formula. Obviously, joking about the hot take part, this is a very common criticism of their games. You don't even have to like scroll twice in a trailer reveal of any new Ubisoft game to see a comment that's like, oh, climb from tower and survey surroundings. Oh. I don't know what that was.
I know what you're thinking, and no. I ain't gonna have you climbing towers all over the county for me, so don't worry. Also, try not to fall from up there.
Honestly, Ubisoft is just so big, like literally thousands and thousands of developers spanning multiple countries, that really the only way they can make games that are as big as they are, that come out as regularly as they do, which is clearly what the stock market is telling them to or what their shareholders are asking them for, is to iterate a lot. Me saying that doesn't mean I
Wait, what did they iterate on?
support this. Obviously, I rarely play their games these days, but it's just the reality of the situation that they're in.
Hey, at least I have something in common with Alanah. I also don't play Ubisoft games.
They have 18,000 employees, and each game has to take systems from the previous game and then change them slightly, and there's a new skin, and then they just update a little as they go along. That's why Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs and Far Cry all clearly have the same DNA. It's by design. And if you played a bunch of those
Yeah, Watch Dogs is bad by design, boys. There you have it.
games over the last 15 years, obviously it feels a bit stale. Hot take, I know. Now, there has been some extra criticism levied at Assassin's Creed Shadows specifically, mostly from what I can tell in reference to one of the playable characters and real historical figure, Yasuke, who is
Real?
rumored to be a black samurai in the
Rumored? Oh, is the maybe it's the black part that's rumored. Who knows?
1500s in Japan. Because it was, you know, the 1500s, records of exactly what he did are a little shaky, but Japanese historians
Well, actually, they're not shaky. His non-existence as a samurai under Nobunaga is extremely well not documented, and compared to literally everything else that is, in contrast, very well documented. And also, the Wikipedia page, I'm assuming this is the edited one, that has been, because the Wikipedia page got so many edits after we found out all about Yasuke and all of that's what's happening in the Assassin's Creed Shadows. So the Wikipedia page is probably complete bullshit at this point.
are certain that he existed. The criticism seems to be coming from people suggesting that his role in history has been inflated, but I don't know, man. It really just looks like he's a real historical figure, and Ubisoft have done what they've always done with real historical figures. They take a ton of creative liberty to make a fun story around said historical figure. Ergo, the Pope did not actually get punched in the face by Ezio Auditore. Leonardo da Vinci did not actually
What an argument!
build a flying machine that an assassin dropped bombs from.
Do not let a beautiful girl distract you from constructing my designs.
Have no worries. Women provide little distraction.
Wait, I don't get it.
While Assassin's Creed games do put a lot of emphasis on the realism of the cities or the regions they take place in, which frankly, they do a very good job of across the board. Assassin's Creed is literally being used in history classes at this point. But story-wise, they've never claimed to be anything other than historical fiction. I'd actually argue it's the only sector where they're really able to have fun or bring anything.
I'm sorry, but I kind of seem to remember literally Ubisoft themselves going out and saying that everything in Assassin's Creed Shadow involving the character of Yasuke is historic fact. I kind of remember them doing that. I kind of remember watching a bunch of videos where people are literally clipping Ubisoft saying that, tweeting that, emphasizing exactly that. Great arguments, Alanah. You're gonna go far. Mostly on your back, but thought indeed.
Creative or unique. It's also literally part of the lore of the franchise. Like I would say, especially for the early games, a theme of Assassin's Creed is that history is written by the victors. The whole point is that they're suggesting that there's this like alternate true history, again, in a fictional way, because the Templars, the bad guys in Assassin's Creed, have rewritten history for modern audiences for their own game. Basically, it is a literal plot device in Assassin's Creed that it is alternate reality.
God, yes. I'll summarize her point in a human, understandable way because she's just a vapid nothing. Everyone knows that at this point, right? Assassin's Creed, the franchise, is not exactly historically accurate. It does take liberties, but it roots itself in history. That's what it does, okay? Not that hard to explain, Alanah, please.
Historical fiction. It's what the in-game Abstergo is all about. I personally think Yasuke is a cool inclusion, if for no reason other than it gives you a different perspective and some different gameplay. I'm not willing to shame Ubisoft for trying to do a little bit of the thing that I've been shaming them for years, which is mix things up a little bit.
Completely disingenuous take on the problem that people have. No one is currently complaining, oh, Yasuke is a different style of gameplay than we're used to. That's bad. Not a single person has said this. She is lying.
Make their games feel a little more distinct from one another, even if I don't know that they've really done that overall. They tried. While I think Shadows has improved on a lot of things compared to the last Assassin's Creed game I played, they certainly didn't reinvent the wheel here or anything. It is an Assassin's Creed game, but at least including dual protagonists who have vastly different backgrounds, social standings, roles, and different playstyles does feel unique. I appreciate the effort. There have been a handful of other controversies, some of which Ubisoft is responsible for and has rightly apologized for, but a lot of it just feels
all of them, maybe?
Overblown or like manufactured outrage, as is the case with a lot of video game discourse recently. Making people angry and keeping them angry is just such an easy way to make money on YouTube. That's why it is never going to go away. Even Elon.
You being right is bad. Yeah, being right about stuff is bad. Great.
Musk got involved somehow. Streamer Hassan Piker got sponsored to play the game on stream, and US government official sort of / owner of Twitter Elon Musk said, and I quote, Hassan is a fraud. Sellout would be more accurate. Objectively, he is promoting a terrible game just for the money. Did Hassan play the game just because he got paid to?
Yes.
But he said it was sponsored. That's how it works. But also there is no universe in which Elon Musk has played this game that he called terrible. Let's be real. How would you know? You haven't played it, which can be said for many people who've been criticizing Assassin's Creed Shadows. And also, if you haven't seen this, somehow you missed this.
Okay, my audio is not perfect, but damn, at least I don't sound like I'm in a bath.
Real quick, just let me show you. I'm so happy if I get to be the person to show you this. The official Assassin's Creed account replied to Elon Musk with, is that what the guy playing your Path of...
I mean, he completely got fucking destroyed and roasted. Jesus fucking Christ.
Exile 2
Someone call the security because Elon's on watch duty.
Account told you? Oh my god. I never thought I'd see the day where Ubisoft had this much personality. I cannot believe it. I initially saw this and assumed that it was photoshopped. They ratioed the guy who owns the app. That is so funny. For anyone who doesn't know, Elon Musk got caught and then eventually owned up to paying someone to play his Path of Exile 2 account so that he could appear to be like one of the best players in the world. Which, man, you know?
If you're wondering, by the way, true.
If I was the richest person on the planet, I just cannot tell you how differently I would be doing things. Paying people to...
Probably laying on the beach constantly, getting drunk like every vapid woman in the world would probably do. And I'm not saying that's common, but, you know, it's maybe slightly common, you know? And, I mean, judge a book by its cover because the cover says no lies.
Play video games for me? No. Just not anywhere on the list. So that's all the context to build up to the thing that I'm deeply upset about. Here's the thing that upsets me about Assassin's
Creed. If I had a lot of money, I would try to take over the Congo, just for shits and giggles. Not even joking, by the way.
Assassin's Creed. And I guess some video games in general. A lot of video games in general. It's just that this really like bubbles up in me whenever a new Assassin's Creed game comes out, and I feel like it paints the picture very, very well. I'm reminded of it every single release. I'm reminded of it with Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I'm bitter about it. I am. So I played Assassin's Creed 1 when it first came out, and like many people, most people, I didn't love the gameplay in this particular game. There was a lot to like there, but it was like already one of those things where I was like, man, I'm excited for the second game because the gameplay was extremely repetitive. People call Assassin's Creed repetitive now. If you haven't played AC1, it was a lot of doing the same things. But it set up a really compelling plot. You start the game as Nolan North. Sorry, I mean Desmond Miles, a bartender in New York City.
You have information we need, Mr. Miles.
Information? I'm a bartender, for Christ's sakes. What do you want me to do, teach you how to mix a martini?
Desmond gets kidnapped by Abstergo, the world's largest pharmaceutical company, and taken to their headquarters in Rome. Not a bad deal. Free trip to Rome. Not that bad. You know what I mean?
I love her attempts at humor. They make me sadder.
Two Abstergo's supervisors, Warren Vidic and Lucy Stillman, force Desmond to enter a machine called the Animus, which can allow people to sort of virtually relive their ancestors' memories. Abstergo want Desmond Miles to relive the memories of one of his ancestors, an assassin named Altair, because they know that back in the year 1191, Altair obtained an artifact called the Apple, which is one of the pieces of Eden, which they are looking for. So you play as Altair, largely investigating and hunting down an order called the Templars, who are effectively the bad guys. Their whole MO is to create world peace by taking away free will. Very original Templars. But as you progress through Altair's story, you do end up finding the apple. You're told it can conjure illusions and has some divine power, which, great news, it does! Altair tries to destroy it, but instead it activates some kind of map which ends up showing you where a whole bunch of the other pieces of Eden are. Back to Desmond Miles. Vidic reveals that Abstergo is a front for the modern-day Templars, and they're solely trying to find the pieces of Eden, and Lucy is implied to be an assassin mole who is working undercover to help you. When Desmond is left alone inside his room in Abstergo, something weird happens. He gets real-life eagle vision, which is a common mechanic used in the series. Desmond can suddenly see a whole bunch of symbols and writings all over the room, written in blood by Subject 16, the person who was in the Animus before him. The drawings leave a whole bunch of cryptic clues that describe some kind of upcoming catastrophic event. When I tell
Do we honestly care?
you I was obsessed, I wrote all these goddamn symbols down. I had notebooks full of them. I was researching what they meant and what they were related to. I assumed that the next game would take us to one of the other pieces of Eden and that we would keep following that thread and eventually we would somehow prevent this catastrophic event that was going to ruin the world that I assumed the Templars were trying to cause. And with that, I, along with I think a lot of other people at the time, I assumed that the next game would take us to one of the other pieces of Eden, and those would be the threads that we were following, and it would all culminate with us finding the pieces of Eden in the modern day version of the game, and putting them together to stop said catastrophic event that I also at the time assumed that the Templars wanted to occur. Assassin's Creed 2 comes around, and man, it ups everything. So this game starts with Desmond being rescued by Lucy.
Get in.
You're joking.
It's for your own protection.
Oh, man.
We're almost there.
And taken to an assassin's safe house where you jump into a different version of the Animus, which, by the way, wow, do there end up being a lot of different Animuses in this game.
That thing goes into your pee-pee hole. 10 out of 10.
An animusi, if you will. And you become Ezio Rettore da Firenze, a wealthy nobleman born in Florence.
Okay, listen, Alanah, no one gives a shit. We just want your opinions, your glorious opinions, not whatever history lesson you're trying to give us.
Officially indicted into the Brotherhood for him. When deciphered, they unlock this is. What did it mean? Pope, right into the Vatican, punch him in the face. Historical fiction, everybody, it is what it is, and it's incredible. But in doing so, Ezio drops the apple, the pub takes it and attaches it to his staff, which apparently is another piece of Eden. Ezio eventually defeats him and manages to unlock the vault just as was prophesied using the apple staff. In what is one of my favorite video game endings to Ezio as Desmond.
How many questions?
To think about it, and I don't know if that's just nostalgia, but the fact that somebody was talking to Desmond through Ezio, I just...
Okay, again, why does any of this matter, Alanah?
Oh my god. So now the assumption from the community at the time, if I have my timelines correct, which I'm fairly shiny, is that the third Assassin's Creed game would largely take place outside of the Animus, with Desmond in the modern day tracking down these pieces of Eden that we've now seen through both Altair and Ezio, while using all of the skills Desmond has learned from his time as these two assassins. Combine them all, he'd take down the Templars, save the world. I think even back then we wondered if, I love Brotherhood stealing the apple and attacking Ezio City. Jump to our first real-world event, Desmond, Lucy, and 2 other modern
Bro, how much more lord dumping is there? Is that the rest of the video?
fight Juno. Juno is released and says it's time to play my part. Deciphering just to end up in a battery-powered temple with one dialogue exchange that my friends drove me to? Why so much focus on all these maps referring to various pieces of Eden if it was all just gonna end up in this one goddamn temple? The whole thing just ended up being Ezio finding a place that Altair locked something up that led me to one location where Jupiter had locked up to get over. Been so sort of can. Black Flag has this really dumb reference to Juno where she says something like, I'm not ready yet. A couple of the other games, I think, also make references to Desmond, but it's not.
Okay, yeah, there's not. What was this video, Alanah? It's worse than I expected. It's 30 minutes of you yapping non-stop about things that no one cares. Okay, well, I guess that's her downfall.